Nice That You Looking At. Taylor Swift Music Career Part 7. On March 16, 2023, to celebrate the beginning of the Eras Tour, Swift announced that the re-recording of If This Was a Movie would be released at midnight. The re-recordings of Eyes Open and Safe and Sound, along with a previously unreleased song from her seventh studio album, Lover, All of the Girls You Loved Before, were released on the same night. Swift began touring the Eras Tour on March 17, 2023 in Glendale, Arizona at the State Farm Stadium. The Eras Tour is a career-tracking 3.5-hour concert encompassing spotlights on each of Swift's albums. After the release of The Tortured Poets Department on April 19, 2024, a new set representing the era was added in, and the Folklore and Evermore eras were merged to cut time. The tour ended on the 8th of December 2024 in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, at the BC Place Stadium.
Over its run of 149 shows, the Eras Tour grossed over $2,077,618,725, becoming the highest-grossing tour of all time, and made Swift the highest-grossing live act of all time.
Speak Now, Taylor's version, is the third re-recorded album by American singer-songwriter Taylor Swift, released on July 7, 2023, via Republic Records. It is a re-recording of Swift's third studio album, Speak Now, 2010. The album was announced on May 5, 2023, at the first Nashville show of her ongoing concert tour, the Eras Tour. It debuted at number 1 with an opening of 716,000 units sold first week, becoming the best first-week opening for a country album since Swift's own Red, Taylor's version, making Swift hold the two best opening weeks for albums in the country genre in the 20s decade. Mirroring this exact achievement of hers in the 10s decade, where she held the two best opening weeks for albums in the country genre with Speak Now, 2010, and Red, 2012. It charted for 86 total weeks on the Billboard 200 and tallied its last week on the Billboard 200 after Swift's announcement on her social media accounts stating she finally owns the master recordings of her albums. As of June 2025, Speak Now, Taylor's version, has over 3.3 billion streams on Spotify. Containing 22 tracks, Speak Now, Taylor's version, was written solely by Swift. It includes re-recorded versions of 16 songs from the deluxe edition of Speak Now, and 6 previously unreleased, from the Vault songs. If This Was a Movie, which has been released earlier due to it featuring a co-writer. The acoustic versions of Back to December and Haunted, which have not been re-recorded since these tracks used the same vocal take as the original versions, and the pop mix of Mine, were not part of the tracklist. Swift and Christopher Rowe produced the majority of the album, with new input from Aaron Dessner and Jack Antonoff on the Vault tracks. American rock acts Fall Out Boy and Hayley Williams of Paramore contributed guest vocals. Commercially, the album has reached number 1 in Australia, Ireland, the Netherlands, and the United Kingdom. I Can See You, a From the Vault track on Speak Now, was released as a single on July 7, 2023, accompanied by a music video, and debuted and peaked to number 5 on the Billboard Hot 100. 1989, Taylor's version, was released on October 27, 2023, exactly 9 years after 1989's release, through Republic Records. It debuted atop the Billboard 200 albums chart with first-week sales of 1.65 million first week, becoming the sixth of her 7 million first-week debuts, and stayed there for 6 non-consecutive weeks, becoming the longest-running re-recorded album to do so and tying its run at number 1 with Speak Now, 2010, and Midnights, 2022. It has charted on the Billboard 200 for 86 weeks and continues to chart to this date. 1989. Taylor's version, SRIAA certification has not been updated by Taylor. As of June 20251989, Taylor's version has sold over 5 million units in the United States of America. 1989. Taylor's version, fifth week at #1 broke her tie with Elvis Presley as the solo artist with the most weeks at #1 as a solo artist, and its final run at its sixth week #1 made her the first solo artist to spend 69 career weeks at #1 on the Billboard 200. The re-record's release was on hold due to the Shake It Off lawsuit, which has since been dropped without a final verdict on December 12, 2022. The album's confirmation and release date were announced on August 9, 2023, the last date of the first leg of the United States for the Eras Tour. The album features 5 From the Vault tracks. A Target exclusive vinyl also contains an additional bonus track, Sweeter Than Fiction, Taylor's version, a re-recorded version of Sweeter Than Fiction, which was written for the One Chance soundtrack. There are 4 deluxe CD editions of the album available with exclusive pictures from the 1989 album photoshoot at Target. These CD variants are instead sold with posters containing the original handwritten lyrics to some of the original 1989 songs. The album earned 176 million first-day streams on the global Spotify chart, the biggest album debut of 2023 and the second biggest of all time, behind only of her own Midnights. Following Midnights' record of occupying the entire top 10 on the Billboard Hot 100, Swift once again charted multiple entries, occupying 8 places in the top 10, beating out the original 1989 by charting 3 more songs in the top 10. To celebrate the release, Messenger and Instagram introduced a 1989 Taylor's version chat theme, while TikTok created a profile picture frame inspired by the album. Available to users who upload a video with #1989 Taylor's version hashtag. Is It Over now debuted at #1 on the Hot 100, replacing Cruel Summer, mirroring the same achievement she had made almost a decade ago when Blank Space replaced Shake It Off at #1 on the Hot 100. Is It Over now became the second From the Vault track to top the Hot 100 chart after All Too Well 10 in November of 2021 and her 11th song to top the chart. It made her the first person to have an album and song debut at #1 in the same week 5 times. The Tortured Poets Department is Taylor's longest album title, with every other album title being 1 or 2 words, as well as the first album stylized in all caps on streaming. Taylor has referred to this album as simply Tortured Poets. The anthology edition is Swift's album with the most tracks, at 31. And the second longest album after Red, Taylor's version, at 2 hours and 2 minutes long. The album debuted with 313 million first-day streams on Spotify, and it once again occupied #1 to #14 spots on the Billboard Hot 100 chart, like going as far as to expand the record set with Midnights. This brought her total career top 10 hits to 59. The most for any female artist, and her total entries to 264, the most for any female artist, meaning out of 274 songs, Swift has charted 264 of them. The Tortured Poets Department debuted atop the Billboard 200 albums chart alongside Fortnite, which debuted atop the Billboard Hot 100, making her the first artist to debut an album and song debut at #1 in the same week 6 times. The album debuted atop the Billboard 200 with 2.61 million units sold first week in the United States of America, becoming the second largest opening week for an album in history, right behind Adele's 25, which debuted with 3.48 million sold first week. It spent its first run of 12 weeks a number one, breaking the record for most consecutive weeks spent by an album by a female artist a number one, which was previously held by Adele's 21 and Whitney Houston's Whitney, which spent their 11 first weeks a number one and spent an additional non-consecutive 5 weeks a number one, spending a total of 17 weeks a number one, becoming Swift's career best, beating out Fearless and 1989, which had each spent 11 weeks a number one, and is the longest-running number one album by a female artist this decade. It has charted for 61 weeks and still continues to chart till date. The Tortured Poets Department spent its 17th week a number one, bringing Taylor Swift's total career weeks number one on the Billboard 200 albums chart to 86 total weeks number one. The most for any solo artist, and only behind the Beatles, who have 132 weeks a number one on the Billboard 200 albums chart. As of June 2025, the Tortured Poets Department has sold over 14.6 million units worldwide, 113, and has over 8 billion streams on Spotify, making Swift the only artist with 6 albums over 8 billion streams. Starting with the shows in Paris, Europe, Taylor added 7 songs from the album to the setlist, creating a whole new set for the era, and merged the Folklore and Evermore sets to cut time. TikTok once again made a Tortured Poets Department profile frame, along with an animation that appears when searching topics related to Taylor Swift for a limited time. On February 25, Taylor Swift became the first female artist to surpass 100 billion streams across all credits on Spotify, and the second to do so overall. On May 30, 2025, after years of hoping, Swift shared a post via Instagram, announcing that she had officially regained ownership of the master recordings of her first 6 studio albums, including associated materials such as music videos, concert films, unreleased tracks, and album artwork. By repurchasing her masters for approximately $360 million, she has now regained complete artistic control over her work. This significant step marks the end of the long-running dispute over the rights to her master recordings. In an emotional message to her fans, Swift expressed deep gratitude for their support. "All of the music I've ever made now belongs to me. The passionate support you showed, the re-recordings, and the success story you turned the Eras tour into is why I was able to buy back my music." Her success is considered a significant milestone for artists' rights in the music industry. The fact that she now owns her music raises the question of whether Reputation and Taylor Swift, her last remaining albums to be re-recorded, still get a Taylor's version. Swift stated that she has fully re-recorded her debut album and likes how it sounds now. Reputation, however, has not yet been re-recorded. "The Reputation album was so specific to that time in my life," she explained, saying she felt emotionally unable to continue working on it. She added, "To be perfectly honest, it's the one album in those first 6 that I thought couldn't be improved upon by redoing it. Although there may never be a re-recording of Reputation." She offered to one day release its vault tracks, as well as her re-recorded debut album, if her fans were into the idea. This is the end of the video. Don't forget to subscribe. See you next time. Bye.